start that now. Yeah, now it's recording. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Emma.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Hi, Liam.
Hey, Peter.
How you doing?
How's life in the virtual reality?
Grand, anyway. No driving, which is a godsend.
Yeah, that's obviously an improvement for you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering how everyone else felt it. And most lecturers feel the same as me. Not driving is a brilliant thing.
Yeah. No.
How are you getting on?
The commute has changed a lot. Especially no commute. Good. Yeah, good. We've been, I suppose, certainly been on Zoom now for really since kind of April, I suppose, when everything came, but or when everything happened. But obviously, it's our first time now really doing sessions on Zoom. Because when everything happened in March, we kind of did have a pause of the workshops then. But no, it's I mean, it's a great tool to use, like Zoom. It is really like easy, and it allows you to still kind of do interactive things. And so hopefully, we'll see what the students think after, but hopefully it won't be too bad in comparison. But
famous last words, Emma.
Yeah. Well, nothing compares to certainly being in person, but look, we
never thought we'd be using Zoom as much as this.
I know, exactly. We're all becoming Zoom experts.
Look, it is good. I mean, it works, like, and it was ready for us as soon as March came. Like, all these facilities were already here. So
no, absolutely. I mean, we're so lucky we have it, because country, if this had happened 15, 20 years ago, it'd be a very different ballgame.
So we have another batch going to take on the EWB project here. So we've got Donald, Daniel, Robert, and Sam and Shane for now. I'm not sure where the others are. You have the link anyway.
I know those guys. We'll give them a couple. We'll give them a minute or two more to join. So Dylan won't be here. Daniel says, that's great. Right. Thanks for the update.
Nice.
So as I was saying, guys, if you are happy to come on camera, it is nice for us as speakers when we're presenting, just to see you if you can, and just even say hello exactly, and then if you want to go off, but just makes it a bit more normal.
I said that a number of times this week, but no students turn on their cameras.
Right, okay, no, if you don't want to know. We've probably more or less. So it's 10 guys in total, Peter, I think Daniel was saying, is it in the group? Yeah.
Roughly, I didn't count them now, about that.
That's similar to earlier this year,
I haven't seen the lads now. I saw Liam. Liam isn't here.
There's 11 people in our class now.
Okay.
There's 11 now. Is there Liam? Liam isn't here. I was in contact with Liam a good bit. Liam is one of them. But I never can. 11, Daniel, is it?
Yeah, there's one fella from last year, I think, Donald Moore.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And are ye at home, lads, or did you get accommodation in Carlow this year? Like, or did you say?
No. Well, I commute anyway, so.
You commuted anyway, so you're still sitting there.
So I'm just at home.
I'd imagine. I was surprised by the thing in Galway on the news, like. I didn't think the students would be in their student accommodation, and having paid for it. Considering everything that's going on. But, sorry, I had another lecture. That's the only reason I was a couple of minutes late.
Oh no, you're grand. Don't worry at all. We might
we can kick off, Emma.
I was going to say, I think we've got pretty much.
You keep an eye on the old waiting room there, and if someone is knocking on the door.
Exactly. I'll let them in.
Is it recording or it's recording?
Yeah, I am recording it. Yeah, one of the guys asked me to. Yes, it's no bother. I can share it with you afterwards.
You might as well, like, isn't it? When you go do this, press record.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I'll check doesn't need to go on YouTube. In any case, we'll figure it out, and I'll share it with you. So the guys can access. Cool. So we'll maybe kick off then now. So I'll just briefly introduce myself and pass to Liam, as I guess you guys won't. I don't think you'll know Liam from any previous interactions, so you won't know myself. So I'm the program manager with Engineers Without Borders, is my name. I joined the guys in January this year. So we had 2 normal pre-COVID months, and since then we've been adapting. But yeah, my background is a kind of disclaimer to say up front is I'm not actually an engineer. My background is anthropology and community development, so something a bit different. But yeah, great to meet you guys today. Hopefully, maybe at some point we'll meet in person. But in any case, for now, we've got Zoom, our best friend. So Liam, I'll pass over to you if you want to quickly say a few words before I kick on.
Yeah, hey Peter, hey guys. Liam McCartney is my name. I have a few paid jobs and a few unpaid jobs. One of my unpaid jobs is Director of Engineers Without Borders in Ireland. I'm one of them. And I'm a civil engineer. So I also run a development technology centre in TU Dublin. So Emma and myself are going to be responsible for the next 6 weeks of pain or more for you. So apologies in advance. But as you'll see, it is actually a big challenge we're going to set you today. But it's also an interesting one. And we'll help you through the next couple of weeks. So we'll be touching base with you and Peter, as we need it. And we've got a lot of resources for you this year as well that through Peter we'll make available to you. So the first thing I'll say is at the start of this, obviously, people get a wee bit swamped, but that's the nature of any big, design project. And then it starts to come together. So with that forewarning,
yeah, forewarning, yeah.
Emma, do you want to kick off there? And
yeah. So just going to share my screen now, guys. 1 second. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, you guys can see that all right. Cool. So, just going to move down the screen. There we are. Now, so this is our competition launch, as Lee mentioned there. So we're just going to bring you through kind of initially now, just talk to you say a few words about Engineers Without Borders, what we do, and I'll kind of introduce the competition and sort of the broad strokes of it. And then Liam's going to get into the detail of the context for this year and our partner country. So just initially on EWB, so Engineers Without Borders. You may have heard of us before, and you may be aware, obviously, there's it's an international, that there are different independent organizations, part of the International Engineers Without Borders kind of movement, really. So we were set up 10 years ago by a bunch of motivated, kind of like-minded engineers who saw this happening around the world and thought, let's start this here in Ireland. So the focus from the beginning has always been on coming up with basically innovative approaches to dealing with sustainable development problems and kind of innovating humanitarian engineering responses. So from the outset, we wanted to kind of engage with a lot of different sectors to make that a reality. So we work with NGOs, work with universities, obviously with yourselves, and we work with industry and academia to bring basically the opportunities to students and professionals to contribute to sustainable development. So we've got our Where There Is No Engineer competition as one of the main programs that we run and that we've been running since 2014 and that Liam's been directing since then, along with the other directors of the organization. And we work though as well in a few different areas, also doing research. So Liam, through, as he mentioned, his development technology in the community research group in TU Dublin, does a lot of work on nature-based solutions. In normal times, we would be running volunteering programs as well overseas. Obviously, at the moment, we're exploring kind of the remote opportunities, but so essentially with that, we'd also as well have events and workshops, which we've also adapted for the online space at the moment. We are actually running a weekly webinar series, just to mention to you guys, if you're interested in tuning into that, that's every Wednesday. And it's focused on different kind of sustainable development issues. Hopefully as well, it might be of interest perhaps to your designs and to this competition for you. So as Liam mentioned, we have a number of people working voluntary with us. I work full-time paid with the organization, but we have a voluntary committee with us and 3 directors that make up our board. So I'll just share with you now first a video to kind of introduce you to the Where There Is No Engineer competition. So it'll actually show, you'll see some footage from the first national finals back in 2014, 2015. And so you'll kind of see, you'll hear feedback from the students that took part and also some kind of and also actually Joan Burton TD at the time. And yeah, just kind of setting the tone for the competition. And then, yeah, I'll bring you a bit through more into the detail then of the competition themes. So I'm just going to set this up now and share the screen, if you bear with me 1 second. Just gonna... Oh, I actually, let's make sure. Can you guys hear that okay, or?
Not yet, I can't hear anything.
No, okay, let me just check out with the share computer sound. Okay, now it should work. Can you guys hear that okay now, yeah?
No sound, Emma.
Oh, right.
No sound, no.
Well, I've clicked on share computer sound. Hang on now. Sorry, guys, bear with me 1 sec.
In terms of child mortality, access to water, access to sanitation.
Sorry, so I'll just
the distance between Ireland and the developing world cannot be measured in kilometres. The distance is measurable in terms of child mortality, access to water, access to sanitation, basic nutrition and gender equality. The distance is lengthened by poor educational facilities, energy poverty, and by the effects of ongoing change in climate patterns. Awareness of this distance stimulates the question, how can we contribute to alleviating the conditions that are a daily struggle for the survival of nearly half of humanity? Where There Is No Engineer is an initiative sponsored by Irish Aid that was set up to provide a vehicle to channel novel ideas that are applicable to developing countries. The title aims to express a scenario of a community situation where there is no access to or advice on technology. So the applications have to be of a simple but effective design with ease of construction and maintenance. There's a range of competition themes: climate resilient infrastructure, self-supply and water sanitation, community participatory health, on and off-grid energy systems, food security, and applying big data in the community. These can be social studies, architectural studies, design, surveying, health, education and IT skills. Competition is not just confined to students, and entries are welcome from anyone, from a retired CEO to non-engineering professionals and full-time students.
Well, the title itself, Where There Is No Engineer, is actually borrowed from a very effective project back in the 80s, Where There Is No Doctor. And that was basically where there was no health resources in developing countries. So our concept is where there is no engineer means where there is no resources at all to assist. And what we're trying to do is bridge the gap. So whether you're a scientist, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, you've got an opportunity to get involved and apply your skills to a range of problems that exist in developing countries. We wanted the project to be live. It's based in a different country each year. The first year it was Kenya, which is the national finals we just had. And next year, depending on the situation, there'll be a different country chosen. There's a wide range of opportunities to get involved at any different level, whether it be undergraduate or professional. Whatever your background, whatever your skill level is, there's an opportunity to get involved. And what happens then is you're registered, and we do a series of design workshops with your group, your college, your firm during the year. And then we help you to develop your design solution. And then that goes forward then into a series of regional finals, which again, we host together with you, and then into the national finals.
Hopefully this will be shared learning between Ireland and Africa. I've also seen some IT applications which are really ingenious. There was a book which was in everybody's house called Where There Is No Doctor. So maybe in about 10 years' time we'll see a similar book of Where There Is No Engineer and how a community or indeed a household can build some of the solutions that are on show here.
Our access to clean water is a massive problem. There's more people die from not having access to clean water than from malaria and AIDS combined every year. So it's really a huge problem. So we needed to come up with a way that was not only effective but very cheap and uses renewable energy and doesn't require a lot of maintenance.
I don't work in development in that industry, but I have a very keen interest, and I saw this as a brilliant concept where it's engineering and it's coming up with an idea to help the community, to help themselves, I suppose, to solve some really important problems.
The original concept actually came from an airdrop system in Australia. It was used for irrigation, and we saw that this would be a perfect example of something that could be implemented in Kenya. We wanted to change it a little bit so that we wouldn't have as much reliance on the electronic side of things.
We realised that most of the natural resources of water in the country are already in use, so we decided to look outside the box, and we thought it's a very humid country, so maybe there's a way of doing that.
It's unique in a way that in normal kind of college projects you're given a specific thing and you go through the process of that, whereas this we were given a problem and we were like, it was an open book for us to find and follow through. So we really kind of tested ourselves, and I think there was parts during the process that both we and the lecturers at different stages like, is this going to work? Are they on the right track? And towards the end, I think not only were we convinced and enthusiastic towards it, but our actual lecturers became more enthusiastic, and that was a real help as well.
Okay, so that just really kind of gives you an overview, kind of the stages of the competition, and hearing from some people some former winners there actually at the end with the airdrop system, and former participants. So just go back into the presentation there now. So essentially, every year we partner with the country and with our development partner there and with communities. And the challenge then for you guys is to innovate and come up with solutions for the real life challenges that the communities are facing. So we will have specific design requests for you guys. We're not going to get into that at the moment today, just yet. At the moment, what we want to do is introduce you to the themes of the competition, which the design requests will align with. These all align with the Sustainable Development Goals as well, which you may or may not have heard of, that were brought up or conceived by the UN in 2015. But these are basically the overarching themes, our global development themes for the competition. So we've got climate resilient infrastructure, self-supply water, community participatory health, and energy systems, food security, and communications. So climate resilient infrastructure, you saw one example of a product actually in design in action there from the video. So for instance, obviously there's huge issues around infrastructure not being ready for the post-climate change era. Obviously, climate change has been going on for years, and we're seeing the impacts of it now, but infrastructure hasn't really adapted. So you saw a small example of that with the winners of the modified airdrop system there from 2015. So their idea was looking at Kenya and like, okay, there's not enough water source, available water source in the country, but what if they got in their climate? It's very humid. So what could we maybe do? As they mentioned, they looked and they saw in Australia, this was actually the system was already in place with irrigation. So they harness the moisture from the air to produce a water source for the country. So that was their kind of novel approach to infrastructure that's coping with climate change and also climate resilient. So then you've got self-supply water and sanitation. Obviously, this year we've become even more aware of the huge importance of this globally, and not even just around access to facilities, but really around educating people of the importance of the facilities. So just to briefly mention, obviously, you may be aware of the huge global problem that it is. 1 in 3 people don't have access to clean water, and more than half of the world's population don't have access to functioning sanitation systems. So that's from the World Health Organization from last year. So what we want to do is look at kind of innovative ways that you can come up with access to water and sanitation services for the communities that we're partnered with. So they can be very rural, so kind of bearing that in mind as well. So then community participatory health. You will actually see when we share the resources with you that Liam mentioned, there's a really interesting example from one of the former winners. So one of the approaches that you could take to this is looking at community education techniques for community health. It's shown in outcomes to date that working with communities where it's community-led health initiatives and community-managed, and where you're co-developing solutions with people, they have the most success. So there's an interesting one that you'll see in our the course that we'll share with you around like menstrual health. and that was basically empowering women to take control of their menstrual health by literally kind of developing the solution that was introduced to them. So in then energy systems, obviously that's hugely important for development, for education, for health as well, and for hospital systems, as again we're seeing now. So with that, we want you to kind of look at on and off grid energy systems, as we mentioned there, looking at kind of renewable energy sources and kind of how could these maybe be introduced in a novel way that's accessible for communities. Food security, again, in the climate change era that we're in now, and with COVID, obviously there's huge instability. So really what we want to do here is kind of give coping mechanisms to communities, so how they can improve their systems and their sort of access to food and food production. So again, this actually, the image here on the screen, this is actually one of the women in Nepal who was working with former winners of the competition who came up with a biochar kiln. So it's the biochar that you see her holding there. And that basically is burning organic waste to produce biochar that's then a fertilizer for the soil, so enabling them to increase crop yield. So again, just increasing that stability for smallholder farmers in Nepal and around the world. And then finally, communications. So you heard applying big data mentioned there in the video. We just wanted to actually open this out and make this broader. So again, seeing the huge importance of communications now in the COVID era, that we can all keep in touch and keep working. But it's obviously hugely important for productive societies, economically, socially, and culturally. So looking at kind of innovative approaches to communications for the communities as well, kind of bearing in mind what would work culturally for people. Everyone does have mobile phones throughout. We're partnered with Zambia this year. People do have mobile phones, so it might be something connected to that, and just broadening out the kind of access to technology there. So does anyone actually at the moment, before I move on, because I know it's quite a lot of information, does anyone have any questions there, or anything you wanted to mention before I move on? Or
we just
okay,
have one project then for the whole class?
No, I suppose that's up to Peter. You'll work it. I'm not sure if it's going to be individually or if you'll be in pairs or small groups, but you might be in small groups, I'd say, would you, Peter?
I'll sort that out with you next week, Daniel.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm still thinking exactly, the structure of the assignment that I'll set you. But yeah, no, I'll let you know. Today was just to kick it off, and I think this is the best possible way we can kick it off. And I'll let you know in good time, and I'll let you know in good time in the coming weeks. So it'll be next week's slots by the time we talk about that, though, Daniel.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Okay, good stuff. Anything else, guys? Are all good? Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll move on. So as I mentioned, so this year we're partnered with Zambia, and the location of our project partners is in Kabwe, which is in central Zambia. So we are partnered there with an organisation, Zamda Ireland, and they run Sable School and Centre. So it's basically emergency accommodation, and it's also schooling for local children in the town of Kabwe. So the guys run a primary school and secondary school for the students. So what you see here are the secondary school girls football teams. They got Waterford IT jerseys donated, so which they clearly love, as you can see. So Liam's going to talk with you more about this, but the school and the centre is run by 2 retired Irish teachers, and we partnered with the organisation earlier this year. And so this is the context. So Kabwe has got about 200,000 people, I think, if I remember correctly, Liam, and it's central Zambia. It's about 2 hours north of the capital of Lusaka. Has a lot of different issues going on, but there's a lot of potential, and there's really a lot of opportunities and design opportunities there for you. So which Liam will talk through with you. But before we maybe move on to that, and before Liam starts, I wanted to do some with you. I don't know, Peter, if the guys have started any kind of research at all around Zambia. They may not have at this point, or they may have.
Sure.
No,
I'm not sure if they did. I doubt it. I doubt it. The stuff that you provided to us last year is still on the Blackboard site.
Okay.
We might have flicked through it, but not that I know of. I mean,
not so much. Okay.
This is kicking it off for us, really. It's our first.
To start off, yeah.
That'll all come after this.
Good stuff. Okay, cool. Well, then it'll be very interesting to see, actually, you guys are coming to us totally cold with no research, to see actually just what kind of knowledge and what you might think actually about the situation in Zambia. So it's just really a brief quiz, hopefully something a bit light for you guys and to kind of break up the Zoom presentations for ourselves. How it works is I'm going to set up the screen now, and you'll need a pin to get into the quiz. I don't know if you guys have used Kahoot at all before, but if you've got your mobile there, which I imagine you do, if you go to kahoot.it, and you'll be able to take part in the quiz from there. So you just need to, each of you just need to join, and then we start off, and it's just 10 quick questions about Zambia, about kind of culture, economy, and about socially. So just to, to see what level of knowledge you guys have will be an interesting kind of starting point. So hopefully you will learn some new information. So I will share this now on the screen. 1 second. Just need to start it off.
Wait, what's the pin, or did you give us the pin?
No, I'm just getting it now. Sorry, Peter. Yeah, just going to share now. Okay. Now, share the screen. Okay, put that volume down a little bit. Okay, guys, so that's the pin. So as you can see, it's kind of lounge music from Kahoot. So it's slightly, it's a bit of an earworm. That's true. So basically, yeah, if you just enter that pin at kahoot.it and be able to play. See one or two more to join them. Is anyone else still joining them on there, guys?
No, I think they're all in.
Is that all? Good. Okay, good stuff. We'll start off. So, first one on population. Okay, good. So yeah, so 3, yeah, right. So it's 18 million, yeah, is the population. So a lot of people are living in urban areas like the capital of Lusaka, as you see when you do research. But yeah, 18 million. So yeah, just put it in perspective, the population. So yeah, we'll see as we go who's winning and who's well done, Peter.
Should be a disqualification.
There might be,
here.
yeah, I was going to say it's possibly slightly unfair. See,
I don't want any inquiries in Carlo IT now to be involved.
Well, the lecturers do like to get involved. We had that yesterday. So yeah, so yeah, pressure's on now, Peter, to keep it up. So actually, she's the totally right. Well, if you were listening to me 1 second ago, you might have caught what I said. Yeah, so most of you guys got that right. Yeah, nearly everyone. Yeah, Lusaka. So whether you knew that all before or you picked it up from my comment, but yeah, Lusaka is the capital. So on language, is English the official language? Okay, so really even spread. So 40 though is true. It is. So English is the official language. So there are obviously a number of different tribal languages spoken or local languages, but English is the official language. Obviously dating from when they were colonized by England. So it is an official language. You're still in front there, Peter. I didn't catch anyway.
That's a shame got that wrong.
So what is the primary religion? Okay, yeah, so most people knew. Yeah, it is Christianity. So really predominantly, I think it's about like 80-something% are Christians. So high numbers of people who are. So they'll have kind of a traditional beliefs alongside that. But yeah, that is the number one religion, I was going to say, the most predominant religion. So yeah, Peter, okay. Ryan, you're close now. Come on, you can. This is your moment, baby. You have 4 more questions to go. So one on, again, culturally and socially, diversity. Yeah, so most of you guys thought it is indeed, yeah. So a very ethnically and linguistically diverse nation. So there's over 70 different ethnic groups and multiple languages spoken as well. So yeah, it's hugely diverse. Ryan, you're doing well though. So it gave that little fire symbol. So you're obviously it's good to prove. So this is one now actually on the social situation as well. How many kilometers do you think? Okay, so we had 3, yeah. So 4 people put 15 and 3, 6. So it's 6 kilometers, yeah, is the average average distance that a woman will walk every day to collect water. So this task falls to women and children. Very much predominantly, it's really left to them as a task for them to complete. And yeah, 6 kilometers. So I don't know how much you guys walk 6K, but like, you know, that's easily well over an hour. And, you know, then in terms of the weight that they're carrying, so see with the next question, it's something it's really, really difficult. And obviously the impact is huge for women having to do this. So the next one following on from that, how many kilograms do you think the water that the average woman carries weighs? Okay, so one person had it right. I don't know. I won't ask me to say, but it's so yeah, it's 20. It can be often more than this, but the average amount that it actually weighs is 20 kilograms. So if you think of that, you know, like 20 bags of sugar, it's like 4 gallons of paint, or even I looked up out of interest yesterday to see it's also the weight of a fully grown adult leopard. So if you imagine carrying that for 6 kilometers, and that's it's obviously, so it's kind of, I know this is kind of a bit of, it's introducing it a fun way, but this is the kind of challenge. This is what women are up against, and children have to deal with this every day. It obviously impacts on their ability to attend school and education, and obviously is the mental and physical impact of this as well. But oh, someone has shot up there. Well done, Sam. Good man. So again, looking at the context in Zambia, it's very important for you guys to be aware of now in your designs. What percentage of people live in poverty in Zambia? So was okay. That's at 85%. It's 60% is the average people who live below the poverty line, and is 40% of people who live in extreme poverty. So this in the numbers of people, when you look at the breakdown, actually, and when you move to rural Zambia, it rises the number of people living in extreme poverty. So so Kabwe, where the project is based, so that would be somewhere urban, but we are also working with rural populations as well. So you'll see now as well, you'll see the pictures from Liam he'll share. But yeah, so extremely high levels of poverty still in Zambia today. So not sure how much you know about the economy of Zambia, but I think which of these is the main activity. Okay, so yeah, most of you guys are right indeed. Copper mining. So yeah, mining has been for many years one of the main economic activities in Zambia. It's led to the huge pollution that they have, but also it's very volatile in terms of that they're very dependent on the rate at which then copper sells on the global market. So when that plummets, obviously it has huge impact on their economy. So it's not diversified in that sense. So who do we have now as we're about to finish? Robert, good man. Robert and Sam. Yeah, I know you have to try and solve it and everything.
Bloody copper mining.
So last one on development in Zambia. most of you, this is almost like a slight trick question to finish. Most of you thought, Drew, it's actually false. It's actually happening at a very rapid pace, the rate of development. So if you actually do, when you come to research on it, you'll see it, Lusaka is one of the fastest growing economies and cities in Africa. So development is happening at a very fast pace, but obviously it's looking at what is the kind of development, and it doesn't meet the needs of the people now and into the future. And obviously bearing in mind there around climate change, but it is actually very rapidly developing. So interesting to know. So here's a little podium now. So Peter, well done. Well done to Sam there, and Robert, congratulations. Yeah. You don't have any prizes really, so I should say it's a bit of a with this, the prize is coming first. The prize is the learning of the knowledge. But anyway, but yeah, so hopefully guys, that's kind of been an interesting just kind of intro initially, and actually it is great to maybe to see like where you guys are at in terms of what actually you are aware of and before you start your research at all. So just stop sharing that now and just go back to presentation. No, so just to fly back to where I was, there we go. So do you guys have any questions on any of that, any of those points that came up in the quiz, or anything else that comes to mind before we move on? No?
Maybe we'll jump into the school,
yeah.
Emma, if you want to let me share.
Good stuff, yeah. Guys, I'm going to share this resource. I'll put it in the chat group. It is, Liam, I'll just make you a host now, 1 second. Here you go. Oh, it's actually 22 again. But yeah, I'm going to share a resource just in the chat group, guys. It is the Where There Is No Engineer Handbook. So you can download that for going through yourselves in your own time.
Okay, guys. So just you should be seeing a slide where there is no engineer in Zambia. Yeah. So just like Peter says, this is a kickoff. So just in the last 15-20 minutes, to go from kind of general to where the actual project is located, and give you a bit of a whistle-stop tour. And we'll make all these resources available to you, like you said, through Peter. So don't worry. So I actually just snuck back from Zambia just before the lockdown. I was over there end of February. So Zambia, big picture, but where we are is Kabwe, the old colonial capital of the empire back in the day. So if you Google Zambia, you'll probably see, Livingstone, and it is beautiful. I have to admit, I got a trip down there when I was there. But this is Kabwe, long way from Livingstone. And there's a big road that goes all the way through Zambia from South Africa up to the Congo. And that copper that Emma mentioned, that basically hops on a truck and goes straight out of the country. And there's little or no benefit to the locals in it. This is Kabwe itself. It's got the unenviable reputation as one of the top 10 most polluted cities in the world, which is pretty incredible. But it's because of the old copper mines and the smelting. So when the price of copper goes up, they bring the old copper mines into action, and then with little or no air scrubbing. So just by way of, this is kind of the kickoff to the design brief. And you have to think a little bit differently about this, but Zambia is a poor country, but innovations have made a big difference. Like, very few people have bank accounts in Zambia, but if you have a mobile phone, that doesn't matter. You do all your banking, you're buying, you can sell produce, you can get money from abroad. So it's just, design innovation is about looking at the context of the people and the place and coming up with a solution that works for it. And that's the kind of design philosophy to get into. This is the local bike shop. Gives you an example of kind of the kind of state of play. But this is our partners over in Zambia. This is, I don't know if any of you travel maybe throughout maybe South America or parts of Africa or even some parts of Europe. You'll see, kids like this come up to you when you're driving along. Well, these are the street kids of Kabwe. And they end up on the streets because sometimes there's AIDS, so their parents may have died. Sometimes their parents aren't able to look after them anymore. A variety of reasons. They end up on the streets, and when they get on the streets, they get addicted to glue. And they get into this cycle of poverty and just goes downhill, and then a lot of them end up in jail. So our partners, basically, these are some guys who started off life out on the streets. So the partners we're working with are trying to bring these guys on a journey from the streets to true education, and ultimately in to give them an opportunity at actually breaking that cycle. So how they do that is Zambda Ireland is the local partners we're involved with. And so just today, very quickly, I want to take you on a quick journey from Sables, which is the school and the street shelter that the guys run. And then we'll have a quick look at one of the largest slums in Africa, Makalulu, which is where a lot of the kids, it's not only street kids that go to the school, it's also kids from the slum in Makalulu. And then we'll finish up very quickly with a trip to the bush and give you a glimpse. And again, all this will be available to you, and we have a couple of videos and stuff. But this is just to give you a very quick frame. So these are the two guys, Pat there on the left, fine Waterford man. Apologies to all Kilkenny personnel tuning in. Pat retired. He was a principal of Joy's in Dublin. Retired 2 years ago. That's his wife Emer on the right. She was a school teacher also. And the two of them decided to head off out to Zambia and run this whole project out there. And the project is called, it's a school and drop-in center. And that's really their focus there. Once you go in those gates, you forget about all the drugs, all the poverty, etc. You enter a new world, and you got basically an opportunity. And that's their whole kind of philosophy. And a lot of it is, about imparting skills to the guys and girls, about giving them an opportunity to actually get a job when they leave school. And we'll talk about that in a sec. So these are some of the street kids, and one Paddy mixed in amongst them. I don't know how I got in that picture. And I'll come back to this guy. This is a little guy called Daniel. But this is the step one on that journey that I spoke about. So what they do is they give the kids an opportunity to come into the school, and this is the shelter that they run. But the guys have to kind of adapt to life on the streets to a shelter. It's a big jump for a lot of them, and some of them don't make it. So if they kind of adapt, then they move from the shelter into the school. They're sports mad. You see there. But access to sports material is a big challenge for them. But this is the school itself. So a lot of schools in Africa, and I lived over there for quite a while, they're pretty dour, kind of almost military type places. This is very different. Like I said, it really is. Once you get in here, it's a totally different world. Like they can forget all the troubles they have outside. They don't get any funding from the government. Government-run schools in Zambia are quite poorly operated. Most of the funding actually comes from Ireland. So things like a library here, most of the infrastructure you'll see was actually funded from Irish. And these are some of the girls and guys from the local Makalulu slum that I spoke about. So the way I get you into the frame of mind is there's lots of design opportunities. There's no problems here. There's lots of design opportunities for you guys to get involved with, like water, sanitation, a lot of water pollution because of the lead. And lead in the water is a problem, particularly for kids, because if you ingest lead over a period of time, it stunts your growth, gives you attention deficit disorder, and really is a big challenge for you. Nutrition, big challenge. Also, the kids love coming to school. They actually queue up in the morning, 7 o'clock, to get in, because they get fed. They get breakfast, they get lunch. This is the cook, Mohammed, and his trusty team, and the two girls. But this is the kitchen. So again, lots of design opportunities around efficient cooking, efficient stoves, that kind of stuff. Don't want to lead you too much into different areas, but just to kind of give you a couple of different steers at the start. So the school kitchen is very important in Zambia. And in Zambia, the school program is 3 months on, 1 month off. 3 months on, 1 month off. They couldn't have a school holidays like we have here because the kids wouldn't get fed. So they structure it such that the school is a really important part of the kids' nutrition. They have a school garden. It's not efficient. They have challenges. They have no drip irrigation systems, no efficient pumping systems, no solar pumping, things like that. They could be self-sufficient, but they're not. Again, that's just a challenge they have. So lots of design opportunities around food supply. This is the gardener, George. and his new apprentice. And again, give you a little bit of thinking of design innovation. The girls, there was a program, I don't know if you know Nourish, it's a health food company. They sponsored a program a bit like Jamie Oliver's idea to get street kids off the streets in the UK. And this was a program there to train the young girls to be chefs. So when they leave school, they got an opportunity to maybe work in restaurants, cafes. So they actually built a school kitchen that, it doesn't look high tech, but it was getting them used to using equipment that they wouldn't be normally used to using, like electric cookers, microwaves, things like that. That's still ongoing. And these ultimately, they go from primary school to secondary school. And again, this is a guy called David, and he would have started off as one of those street kids that we showed you earlier. That's him heading into secondary school. So that's the kind of environment. Pool table, which is the only time it was quiet during the whole time I was there. As you can see, it's a pretty cool place to be. There's also lots of design opportunities around innovative ways to teach skills. The kids go mad for playing, but there's no locally produced games or educational games or technical games. This is the most popular game in the school. None of you remember Sabutio. Peter, you might vaguely, I don't know how old you're. The other guys can Google it. This is a version of Sabutio that you'll see. So again, design opportunities around really clever kind of ways even to teach construction skills through game and gameplay is something that we're looking at as well. And just to give you a quick idea of the realities of life, this is the guy I showed earlier. Just before we arrived, he fell out of a tree, as kids do. And he was in a bad way. His leg was very, very sore and it swelled up. They brought him to the local hospital. Hospital sent him home with some paracetamol. So it wasn't getting better. So a couple of days later, when we were there, they took him down to Lusaka, and his leg was broken in 2 places. And he would have ended up with a limp, for the rest of his life. So when we were there, the guys were trying to get him an operation. And that's kind of the reality of the state of play in Kabwe in terms of infrastructure and resources. But this is Sabutio in action now. This is the game playing that I showed you. So again, there are lots of design opportunities. Each school in Zambia has to have a science class. Again, teaching skills, teaching trades through very simple kind of kits and toolkits. This is an example of rainwater harvesting. It's not a good example of rainwater harvesting, but it is an example. So again, you would imagine Zambia has a lot of rainfall, but it has in one particular season. So rainwater harvesting and capturing the existing rain in storage that it can be used, for example, in irrigation. Again, lots of design opportunities around that. Solar pumping, solar mechanisms. This is the storage system. The school is luckily, it's got a borehole, but it's got no power to pump from the borehole to the storage tanks. So it has to turn on a generator, diesel generator, which obviously costs money. So again, innovative ways around solar pumping, a huge design opportunity over there. And then just in the short time left, if we leave the school, because a lot of the kids, like I said, come from this place called Makalulu. And a lot of them would actually walk for about 2 hours, or about an hour. It took us about an hour to drive there. So probably an hour 40, 2 hours for the guys to walk and the same home. And Makalulu, like I said, it's the second largest slum or informal housing area in Africa. If you go on Google Earth and have a look at it, it stretches for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. It's a mad place. That's actually the petrol station on the right. That's where you buy your petrol in 1 litre bottles. But this, it looks like Pat is giving someone a bit of a telling off here. He's not. What he's actually asking, these are 2 twins that attend a school, and he's basically chatting to his mother, the mother, about if they have enough food, if they have enough rice. And there was a bag of rice that we brought out with us for the kids. But this is kind of Makalulu. Again, lots of challenges, something you can't see there. But one of the challenges for is energy. Emma mentioned it was one of the themes, that there's no power. So when the kids come home from school, it gets dark very quickly in Africa. It's like, in a matter of minutes. So because they have no power, they can't really work at home. So simple things like solar and solar systems that can be manufactured locally and operated locally. Massive opportunities there. You spoke about in the Kahoot walking for 6K. 6K with a fully grown leopard on your back. I've never tried it, but can't imagine it's much fun. But you know, think about it. Like you're carrying 20 kg in searing heat. It's not easy. So you know, design opportunities around water transport. This is one of the local design solutions the guys have come up with. And then just to finish up, in the middle of Makalulu, right in the middle of this slum, there's one of our other partners we work with called Habitat for Humanity. They're involved in community housing. So they have volunteer programs. So last year, or 2019, yeah, we sent a team, about 12, mixture of kind of professional engineers and students like yourselves over there. And they worked alongside the locals, building community houses that were then given to locals. And this is the finished product here. You can kind of see the massive difference between that and the previous picture I showed you. These houses come pretty decent kit, but again, if you look at what they're being manufactured from, concrete blocks. So things like innovative, low cost housing solutions. Again, massive design opportunity there, using local materials. But this is the community project over there that Habitat are involved with. And again, you can see the themes that start to come back again. Nutrition. So trying to put in community gardens alongside the houses gives them an opportunity to start to actually become self-sufficient in crop production. And so this is actually one of the girls, Blessing is her name, who was attending the school, and little brother has spina bifida, so they're actually living. That's her mother. So that's kind of a snapshot of Makalulu. Two sides to Makalulu. One without support, and one where there is actually support. Again, lots of design opportunities around solar. This is the only solar panel I saw when I was out there, which is crazy. But they're not produced locally. There's no local supply chain. But if you go on the internet, you can actually build a solar system very, very quickly and very easily. So again, just trying to steer you into design philosophy about, you know, innovative solutions. Innovative solutions around pumping too is a problem. A lot of pumps break down because they seize up. And that means there's a big challenge. This is an example of one of the ladies' daily occurrence, morning and evening. A lot of water towers, you'll see them dotted all around Zambia. A lot of them are empty. They're empty because there's no way of pumping the water from the borehole up to the tower. Again, it's not, you know, you're talking about 8 to 10 meters. It's not a massive challenge for a solar system, but they don't exist in large numbers out there. And then lastly, just to bring you into the bush, and this is donkey power, which is how you either travel by bicycle or donkey power if you're local. But the reason I'm bringing you there is because, again, we talk about climate resilient infrastructure. This was the local schoolhouse. And when the rains come, it just collapsed basically. So the guys, ZAMDA, got funding from Ireland and built a new school, 3 new classrooms. And it's pretty incredible. As soon as the school was built, it was full, because the locals really prioritize education as a way to get out of the poverty trap. So the kids are sitting on the ground here, not because, you know, it's playtime, because they don't have enough desks. And one of the consequences, again, it's like, you know, Kevin Costner was it, you build it, they will come. They actually had to have outside classes then. Because they didn't have enough room inside, and because they couldn't raise enough money to build a new school. So again, lots of design opportunities around low cost construction using local materials, alternative materials. They do exist. So again, might be an idea. Again, you can chat with Peter and ourselves again at entry points for you. So that is a very quick whistle-stop tour of where there is no engineer, EWB, Zambia, and more specifically, our partners in Zambia. And the way this will work, guys, is today is really just a kickoff to kind of get you into a bit of a frame of mind and give you a bit of a snapshot. But there's a couple of different stages and we'll work through them with yourselves and Peter and we'll organize a couple of more Zoom workshops. But the first stage, I would say, is kind of just, you start with a blank page, and then you start to really look at where the design opportunities are with your local partner. And then it grows from there. So I think we're pretty much on time, Peter. I know you've got an hour, so by my watch, you've a minute left. Now, again, if guys have questions, email. It'll take you a while to kind of get your head around this whole thing. So you can email myself or Emma during the week, Peter, and we'll liaise with Peter and kind of organize maybe again when it suits you to come back and do a kind of a more detailed design workshop and give you feedback. So I don't know if anyone has any quick questions now, or Peter or Emma, is there anything I missed there? Or?
No.
Oh,
I don't,
yeah,
nothing from
I'll
my
catch
end.
up with the lads next week. So lads, I'll catch up with you next week. So this is our first session, so I haven't even talked to the lads about this yet. So we'll talk about it and we'll get going. I'll tell them what I'll be expecting to see out of them and what I'll be grading them on. And then we'll go from there and we'll see what sort of progress we'll make. And I'll get back in touch with Emma and yourself, Emma and me. So
yeah, and I would say, guys, I know it's a big design brief to kind of throw at you, but we've had a lot of really interesting design solutions. So much so that Emma again will share the resources, and you'll see where people have actually developed really cool ideas that we've been able to bring through. We've got what we call an innovation academy where we bring these concepts through, and a lot of them now are actually in production or almost in production. So like, even though it seems like a big design challenge, when you start getting stuck into it, we've actually got some really, really clever practical ideas that ultimately we've been able to bring from the college stage into the field, which is, for us, is really what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll see some interesting examples come to life. So yeah, hopefully that might, spark something with you or maybe influence your thinking in some way. Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, Peter, we have an online course this year and resources for the guys and yourself. So we'll make that available to you over the next week or so. And yeah, it'll either be on our website or else we'll give it to you and you can figure out how to share it with the students. But we'll follow that up with you over the next few days, and it'll just help the guys as they're going through the different stages. I think there's a lot of resources there that will help you. So we'll share that with you over the next week.
Yeah, and I've already sent them the link to the webinar series and that. So
excellent.
Thanks very much again for the kickoff. So it's a nice intro to Zambia and a nice way to set the scene for the lads on this sort of a project, because they wouldn't have done this before.
Yeah.
Or
Very
anything
new,
like
so,
yeah. So I suppose
okay, guys.
Cool. Well, we'll maybe leave there. Obviously, have a think. Obviously, as Liam said, it'll, you'll kind of, as you start kind of looking into it, more questions will come up. So obviously send them on to Peter and he'll share them with myself and Liam, and we'll come back to you then. But yeah, we'll be back in touch about kind of scheduling the next kind of workshop session in the next couple of weeks.
And enjoy, most importantly, enjoy it. It is when you get stuck into it. Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that you'll be able to get your teeth into, hopefully.
And I'll talk to you next week about it. So just be thinking about it, and yeah, we'll catch up then. All right. So thanks a million.
Okay, guys.
Cool.
Thanks a million.
Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah.
See you now. Have a good weekend.